Sziasztok, ez itt az SZJApodcast újabb adása, és hát ezúttal egy nagyon neves meghívottunk érkezett méghozzá Észak-Amerikából, pontosabban az Amerikai Egyesült Államokból. Barry Smith lesz a vendégünk, aki hétszeres Stanley Kupa-győztes edző, és hát emellett óriási tudás van mögötte, úgyhogy kérlek, engedjétek meg, bemutassam nektek Barryt. Barry, thank you very much for coming and being here together with us at this podcast, and welcome at the SZJA.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation to be here. So I have to thank Antal Elad for the invitation, and of course Rotila for having a chance for me to be on your podcast. So it's my pleasure to be here, and I'm learning as much as I'm trying to give.
Thank you very much. So you are a long-time NHL assistant coach and also associate coach. You won the Stanley Cup 7 times. Not many coach won 7 times Stanley Cup. But still, my first question would be, because we are in Transylvania, if you ever seen a bear?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I have. Yes.
So you are friends with the bear?
Not friends, but I see them. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to hockey.
Okay.
So, what inspired you to become a coach?
Well, as a young boy growing up, of course, we played outside all day long, and at that time we played all sports: baseball, we played football, and I started playing hockey a little bit later, but I really enjoyed the game, and I played all 3 sports, up until I went to college. When I went to college, I was lucky to be able to play 2 sports, which was football and hockey. And then
football, you mean?
As in American football.
American football,
yeah,
okay.
American football. And then when I graduated, I wanted to coach, and I started coaching 2 of the sports, and then I felt hockey was what I enjoyed most. And the difference was this: in football, American football, you play 1 time a week, which was usually Saturday. Mm-hmm. And if you lost, you were upset the whole week. And if you won, you were happy all week. But in hockey, you'd play more than 1 game, so you wouldn't have to keep that mentality over and over again. And I liked the sport better. I liked the practices.
So that was the key.
That was the key, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This happened in Buffalo, in New York, or?
Yeah, I grew up in Buffalo, in Kenmore, actually, and I was very lucky because at that time we could play outside all day, and we played all sports. And my father was a youth coach.
Okay.
So he coached football, American football, with all the neighborhoods. So we all played together, and he was our coach for many years.
Was he disappointed that you chose ice hockey?
No, he was behind all 3 boys, my 2 brothers, myself, and he coached me, for sure he coached me and my younger brother, but not my older brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you identify, nurture young talent in youth hockey programs?
Well, actually, I say you identify a couple different things. One part, of course, is skill. Skill is how skilled you are either on your skates, or if you're an American football player, what position you are, or if you're a soccer player, what you can do with your feet and play. And I just think that it's the mentality is the difference. It's those who like to compete, those who have character. You can tell the boys who have a passion for the game, they'll play a little extra and longer and harder. And those are the ones that move up. It's not talent. Talent is sometimes God-given, but your compete and passion is inside you. It's internal.
Is there an age when you need that passion?
Good question. I would say to you, to be good in anything you do, you have to have a passion because you enjoy doing it. It's not a job. You'll do the extra because it's fun. You get some fulfillment from it. So there isn't really an age for that, no.
Okay. What is the biggest challenge in coaching youth players compared to professional athletes, for example?
I would say to you, we've had a change in the last 20-some years of our environment that the kids are growing up into. I can say for sure in North America that if you go and drive by soccer fields and baseball fields and football fields, that you'll see hardly anybody out there playing today. Mm-hmm. When you drive your car down the street, you don't have to honk your horn because kids are playing in the street. You don't see them playing in the backyards as much. So that whole mentality of community play has changed. Outside play, community creative play has changed. Kids are inside now. They're on computers. They're on iPads. They have a whole different sense of gamemanship. They're playing individual. They play against the machine. Sometimes they play against others, on the computer or iPad. So that group or community play is no longer. It's more individually. So I think the mentality of coaches to approach these younger players today is different than it was when we grew up.
Is it harder to make a team?
Yes.
Because of this individual?
Absolutely.
Okay. So basically, a coach must work much more on the team work than on the individual side.
Yes.
As I understand.
No, it's correct.
Okay. What are the most important things for a successful hockey team or hockey players, maybe?
In what sense?
Well, in sense of I'm going to school, I'm going to be educated, but I still want to do, for example, sports as much as a high level sport, like education, for example. So can they go parallel?
Yes, they can, but it's difficult. And that's what you call time management, where you have to manage your time per day of when do I do my homework, when do I do my practice, how much time do I have to do other things to do my daily life. And parents are very, very important in a child's development, very important, because the parents, they have to sacrifice, they have to take the student or the player to practices, they have to financially help them with what the cost factor is. They have to figure out when they go to games how they reinforce their child's play. It's important because parents can really be the difference maker in if a player wants to stay in the game, if he feels fulfillment, is there fun in the game, or is it just every time you compete, you're being pressured to be the best? It's a hard thing.
If you mentioned the costs, what are the costs nowadays for a family, for example, who want to start ice hockey in North America? I mean, it's like you need a high income for this, or not really?
You have to sacrifice. It's the most expensive sport, besides if you're into horses, because of course you have to pay for a horse and whatever. But you're paying high price for practice time, the cost to go on the ice. You're paying for sticks, which are very costly now. You're paying for skates. The equipment that you need for hockey is quite high. Versus if you play basketball, you need a pair of shorts and shoes. If you play soccer, shorts, it's a different cost. So therefore, I think the parents feel more entitlement to be involved in the sport because of what they're paying. And that's hard for coaches to get that balance of how do I deal with the parent or the parents, because they're sacrificing, and obviously they want to see results for their son or daughter. And then the coach has to figure out, okay, I'm playing such and such a person more than their son, and how do I take care of this, the balance with the parents?
So basically the clubs are not really helping with equipment, so the parents must buy it. The
clubs will help somewhat, and many clubs in North America. I can't speak for here, of course, because I've only been here.
Yeah, but I'm curious about the North American one.
You'll have what they call, as the season starts, you take the equipment that I can't wear. I've grown from 12 to 13, so I'm bigger. So they take my skates or my shin pads or my gloves or whatever, and they sell it. It's used equipment, or they give it sometimes. And then the person who's growing up will get that equipment, and we pass it along. So it's a cheaper price to get used equipment than new equipment.
Okay.
But it's very costly in North America, and the ice time is very high.
Okay, and which age group are the hockey scouts starting looking at players, maybe?
It's a good question. I'm just getting involved with youth hockey now in my last three years. And actually, I'm enjoying the challenge more doing this than I did with the pros, possibly. But I would say to you probably around 13 is the first look at some players. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair, because sometimes the 13-year-old who's grown the biggest, or maybe he's the most mature at 13, Of course he's going to be better in that sport because he's stronger, faster, bigger.
It's about physics,
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that person who's smaller at age 13 will not be better at 15 or 16 as they mature. It's a hard cycle to figure out.
Can you tell me a bit about the championship format in the youth program? Let's say under 7, under 9, under 11, and so on.
Under 7, I would say there's no format. It's just a matter of playing for whatever area or rink you're in or competitions close by.
So it's like a game.
Yeah,
like
it's close by, exactly. And as you get older, in North America, there's different levels, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. And as you have a Tier 1 player, he's going to be better than a Tier 2 player, supposedly, and a Tier 2 player is better than a Tier 3 player. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to have competition for youth in youth sports because I go play a team, say I live in Arizona. I play a team in California. I say our team is Tier 1, which is the highest of Arizona, but we play the California team, and they're much better than us. So, I mean, who evaluates what Tier 1, 2, and 3 is? But the competition is best for both participants if it's even. It doesn't help a team who's much better than somebody else and beat them by 10 goals. It doesn't help them become a better team. And the team that loses by 10 goals, it doesn't reinforce them to say, isn't this fun? Isn't it great? We lost by 10 goals. So that competition, the more even you can make it, the better it is for both sides.
I think this side, also for the coaches, it's hard to motivate the kids when they lose with 10 goals, no?
Very hard. I mean, what do you take from it? I mean, how do you build from it? We didn't give up 13? I mean, what do you say? Yeah. I mean, they were outclassed. The people they played were a better athlete at that age. At that age. Doesn't mean 2 years down the road or 3 years, but at that particular time. So that's why competition is so important to try to make it even.
When the kids are moving from home to play different teams and levels, how does it work?
Well, there's mostly Tier 1, which is your highest level of whatever age group. They might move at age 12 or 13 to some other city or some other town and live with the family and play for that team.
Live with the family,
live
or
with
they
the
move into a college or kind of...
No, that's called billeting, which means I would like to have you, you're 13 years old, play for our team.
Okay.
So I invite you and your family to come look at our town, and I put you with the family so that you have, parents watching over you, but adults, and they feed you, take care of you, and drive you to and from the rink.
I understand.
And then usually you have to pay that family so much money because they're using food and they're driving you to and from.
Or finding a job for the family.
Exactly.
Okay, but usually clubs or coaches are helping these families to find a job or to find a place to stay and so on. So they are not alone.
No, in fact, they take you to the family.
Okay. Which are the most important criteria when a player is drafted?
I'll give you 5 points, okay? Then I would say of the 32 NHL teams, all of them would have some of these points, okay, in their criteria. For me, it's character first. In most teams, it's character. Character is who you are, not just on the ice, but who you are as a person.
Outside of
Yes, and your moral compass and so forth, and how you take care of yourself. For me, the next point in our teams that we've had success with was number 2, was hockey sense or hockey IQ. How do you read the game? How do you support the play? Can you think the game? Can you make the right decisions at the right time? And then I would have passion 3, which really drives you. And passion means that you'll do all the extra things possible because you have that ability inside you to drive to be the best, and you enjoy it, and you get fulfillment from it. And then I'd have skill, probably as 4, not 2 or 1, because everybody has skill. It's just a matter of what type of skills do you have. And also with players, you can help their skills to become better. It doesn't mean at 18 you're done developing. No, you can improve your skills all the way up until your age of 70. I mean, some things. So in essence, that part can be improved. And then competition or how you compete or intensity could also be there.
You've said the hockey IQ.
IQ.
I'm
Hockey sense or IQ. Yeah.
I'm curious about this because what age you think that a player starts thinking in that way? I mean, when it starts with the hockey IQ, is there an age, or there are different kind of players?
There is not one age, and it doesn't mean all of a sudden because I'm shaving or maturity, I have hockey IQ. It has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
It's your ability to understand the game. And I can go on the ice with the eight-year-old team, and I could tell you who has hockey sense just by watching how they play and how they think.
So it's like, let's say, he's been born as a Gretzky, for example, and he has in his legs and in his mind, and he's working with a hockey IQ even at the age of 8. So there are some talents, basically.
Yeah, and as we talk about sport, I'm a firm believer in multiple sports at young ages, because that multiple sports will help your hockey sense or ball sense for any sport. The more sports you play, the more you have to think. And you have to figure out, how is this game successful? What do I have to do at this moment? And that helps you improve your hockey sense or hockey IQ. If you only play one sport, it doesn't help.
And what kind of sport you think that it must be?
If we're talking,
it doesn't matter.
If we're talking hockey, for sure, we'll take European football.
Okay.
We'll take basketball. There's a sport in North America we play called lacrosse, which is very similar.
Okay.
Because you have to play with other players. Anything that you play with other players and have to create movement was going to help you with hockey sense or hockey IQ. Baseball, maybe it's going to help you hit a fastball because you have eye-hand coordination, but it doesn't really have a lot of thought process.
Until what age you think that this must be done?
I don't have an age for you. I don't have that based upon your maturity, but I don't think you have to stop playing multiple sports up until 15, personally.
Yeah. No, I was asking this because let's say you are 20 years old and you still must do that.
No, I think by 20 you're pretty much involved with whatever sport you're going to be in. Yeah.
So
it's not so easy to be a multiple sport athlete in college anymore or 20 years old. Okay. You pretty much, they fine-tune you, okay, this is your sport now and this is what you're going to play.
Okay. If we should speak about your philosophy, what would be that?
In which way?
Well, in the way of hockey. What's your hockey philosophy?
Fun. Fun first. You have to enjoy it. You have to have a smile on your face. It can't be just drudgery and hard and dark. It has to be bright and sunny, and you have to feel like you want to come. You have a smile on your face. And that's why, people say, boy, you have to be careful of competition because, everybody should get a medal now. Kids don't want that. Not so much discipline because, it's a free society now. And no, kids want discipline and they want to have competition.
And is that working also on professional level?
Professional level is a little different because now financially it's involved. There's finances involved. Yeah. And I'm feeding my family and I'm building a future. And when I deal with professional athletes, you have to deal with them differently. And you have to find the right moments to approach that athlete. You can't just, hey, no, you have to find the right moments so that your communication is going to work with that athlete. And you have to remember, as a coach, I determine only so little of his mindset, okay? And usually it's how much I play him, who do I play him with, and how do I give him a chance to show his skill or his whatever. He just wants to be on the field to play or on the ice to play because now he has a chance for a future to get paid. It's different professionally.
If we are at this subject, I would still have one question because you've been coaching also in Detroit, Pittsburgh, and you even won Stanley Cup with them. So you had a lot of star players who are earning a lot of money. Probably they don't really care about hockey anymore as much than before. How hard was for you as a coach to put them to do this or this and to be restricted to the game?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. And that's the difference of having a very good team and just an average team. and that is, do the players accept their roles? Because you can't have 20 players on the power play. You can't have 20 players play on the first block or the first line. You have to make a team, and a team has different roles. And I think the hardest thing for a coach is to approach somebody like yourself. Say you were a star player last year. Of course you were a star because you got drafted. You were a top player. And now I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry, but not sorry. We need you to play a third line role, which means now you're going to be a bit of a checker, defensive-minded player. You have to start every face-off in the defensive zone mostly because you're very good. We're going to make you better defensively. And you have to give up your chance to score goals because now your mindset is to play more defense. And you have to accept that role and play that role well for us to be successful. So that is the hardest thing to work inside the team, is to define the role, and then secondly, have the player play that role well, execute it, embrace it, not just, oh, I got to play this today again. But no, if he says, oh, I got to play this today, it won't be as good as I'm ready. I'll take that job.
So it's also motivation, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you have to reinforce it. And even when I talk to youth hockey coaches, it's so easy to see the best player. You can see they're faster. They have better hands. They make better moves. They score goals. Everybody in the crowd sees that he's a good player, and he gets congratulated. But no, you have to reinforce the player who blocks a shot. You have to reinforce the player who made a play he's never made before, or do something differently. So our job as a coach is to motivate those players through reinforcement, not just your top players. Because if you're going to have a successful team, you win not because the top. You win because the bottom is stronger than the opponent.
And not everybody has a good day.
No. And you win from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Not from the top down.
How important is the off-ice practice in hockey, especially?
It's more important now than ever. Let me explain why. Because kids are not playing in the streets, they're not playing in the backyards. When it gets cold out, they're not playing in the pond so much. They want to just go to practice and practice. So they don't have as many hours of stick dexterity, which means your hands and how you handle. They don't have as many hours of possibly running, jumping, physically playing against something. So therefore, we have to make sure the off-ice is included to have stick dexterity, to work on your quickness and strength and balance, because it's not being done in the fields anymore. It's not being done in the backyard. So it's more important than ever.
Is there an age group, or from which age group it must be started?
Well, if you start playing hockey at 7, okay, why wouldn't you work with your stick off the ice and handle balls and pucks and so forth off the ice? You don't have to do weights, but at least you can do those things: passing, receiving,
and as many times as you can during the week, I guess.
At least twice.
Okay.
The hardest thing is managing practice time. It's expensive, as you know, and many clubs in North America don't get so much ice because there's so many teams, there's so many players that use the practice. So maybe it's only once a week, which is not enough. But the biggest problem we have as coaches is, okay, here's my hockey stick and my hockey gear. I'm done. I put it over here in the corner, put it in the closet, and then I only pick it up when I go to practice. That's not enough. It has to be done even when I'm home to get better. You talk about these players who are great shooters. They're shooting in the basement all day long.
Yeah, I think this side is totally different. As you said in the beginning, that at your age you were playing downstairs in front of the houses, flats. But nowadays, kids are inside playing on the computer. They are not doing this anymore. So in this way, they are like in minus.
Correct. Big minus.
Big minus, okay.
But therefore, if we can give them a chance to do more off the ice, it's going to embrace and enhance them on the ice.
Is there a difference between the European or North American developing model? I'm asking you this because I know that you've been working in Norway, Sweden, maybe Italy as well. So you've seen the European model as well.
And Russia as well.
And Russia,
yeah. And that was a little different model as well. So each country has a bit of a different model based upon resources, of what they're available to do off the ice. Also by climate, can you skate outside, based upon how cold, or do you have rinks outside? So it's a little different in each place. North America is a little bit more, I think you have to win every game, kids play and who wins, and not just play for the sake of playing and get better. Sweden was a little bit better at that. They had a better practice model. And inside their organizations, each group knew what the one below them was doing. In North America, we have more of an island. Okay, I'm coaching the 12s. I don't worry about the 10s. I don't worry about the 14s. No, I should worry about the 10s because they're coming to me next year. Mm-hmm. And I should worry about the 14s because I'm making the 12s good enough to play for the 14s. So in essence, I should think about each step. But in North America, we don't do that so much.
And what about Russia?
Russia was harder when I was there because there wasn't as many rinks available for ice. So we did a lot off the ice as younger ages. And they did some facilities were not beautiful. So they're just old facilities, but they're still, you did what you had to do.
Was more physical?
I would say off the ice for sure. They did more off the ice. On the ice, it wasn't pretty. We didn't have nice warm-ups and goalie. It's just go. Step on the ice, you better be ready.
Interesting. Okay, how many months are practicing on ice season the kids?
Too much.
Too much.
Seriously.
Why is that?
You don't have, if you practice 12 months doing the same thing, you get tired of it, you don't get better at it. Mm-hmm. You don't even have a feel in your heart for it because it's a job. Okay.
There is no fun anymore.
It's just over and over and over and over again. And you don't get better playing 12 months. You get better playing 9 months well, or 8 months or 9 months well, not 12 months half.
Mm-hmm. This goes also for the professional?
Yes.
It's the same?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You might train for 12.
Yeah.
But you don't be on the ice for 12.
Barry Smith volt a mai vendégünk, és hát köszönöm szépen a figyelmet nektek, neki pedig köszönöm, hogy itt volt velünk együtt, és hát kövessétek továbbra is az SZJApodcastet, hiszen érdekesebbnél érdekesebb sztorikkal és történetekkel jövünk, nem beszélve a meghívottakról.